all looking for that edge in life, right? AI is the future. AI is here. And if you ask me, I think AI is like in the first or second inning.
We're in the first inning of this. It's early enough where everyone can get involved. Just with a little bit of research and time and investment, you can get your company or your business involved.
Yep.
And help you secure some big bags.
You're dealing with a lot of people competing for that ad spend, right? And you got to somehow have a better quality lead or some sort of thing that's going to help your customer grow. If they can't grow, you don't grow. I saw that happen with solar. Everyone was doing the same shit. Companies started going out of business, all this stuff, and then boom. People just started getting out of it, trying to find the next thing. Sounds like AI is one of those edges.
What AI allows me to do is, like you said, it condenses and crushes the timeline of being able to do certain things. If you're in the performance marketing space, you will always have the edge when you push the envelope for innovation. Right now, in this current market that we're in, the companies that are going to be the most successful are the companies that do R&D. What can we do that's different? Who can we find out there that might be outside of the performance marketing bubble and give us additional insight for what we do?
In our business, it's so fast. The companies that have the edge, they're the ones that are going to be able to outlast.
Here's the thing. It's not that I'm doing anything that's revolutionary. What needs to happen now for you to really get that edge is, one, we have to stop knowledge hoarding. We have to open up this industry a little bit more so more people can understand how it works. Entrepreneurs and as business owners, we need to start really looking outside the box and be like, okay, what can I do to fix this problem? So many things you can do. You're not limited by anything. You don't have to think as hard anymore. All that work and all that money you were spending on people to do all the hard lifting, you can now do it yourself. The one thing that AI does for all of us, it gives us parity. I have the same power as you now. So now that I have all the same power, now I'm able to be like, okay, how can I use this in a way that's more creative? This is where you can push the limit. And it's the people who push the limit that secure the bag.
Shout out to our sponsors, because without them, this shit wouldn't be possible. Shout out to Ringba. Shout out to Adam Young, the paper call revolution. There's big money in paper call, whether you're someone who's a novice looking to get into it, whether you're someone who's already doing it, putting up big numbers. Let's fucking do this, guys. Get the fucking book on Amazon. We're going to drop a link here. Take your shit to the next level. Let's fucking go.
Guys, it's Boris. I'm on the LFG Show. Don't forget, we have Contact.io coming up, the biggest and best show for call centers. If you're going to be in Denver, you need to use promo code LFG.
Let's fucking go, baby. Save $200. Put that promo code in. Get there. Make a lot of money. See Boris and I. Let's fucking make this happen.
We'll be there.
Yo, we're back, baby. It's fucking raining in Miami. There's a freaking storm going on. What the fuck is up with that?
It's crazy.
I might get out of here. I might have to go to New York after this shit, man. Anyway, we're back. It's raining out there, but it's fucking, we have a banger over here. And guys, do me a favor. If you like the content we're putting out, and today is a fucking banger, I can't wait till you hear what we're talking about. This is next level shit. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and if you're feeling generous, comment in our YouTube channel, on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, where the fuck we're at. Make sure you comment. Share the love. Show people what the fuck's going on here, because we got a banger for you. I got my man, Micah Berkley here.
My man.
Yep.
Yo, this is an honor, man. You've been doing some legendary stuff, and I'm really... feels like this is definitely an honor to be here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, he's with AI Success Partners, and they're doing some big things, and I'm super excited because, thanks for the kind words, and I'm super excited because, bro, I've been in the business world for a long time.
Right.
I remember the .com bubble. I remember the crash that happened in 2008 with real estate. I've seen these affiliates come out. I know we're making a lot of money online, and now you look at the stock market. Money flows to where the money's at. Look at NVIDIA stock. $100 a year ago, just split, hit over like 1250, 12x, right? That's because of AI.
Right.
AI is the future. AI is here. And if you ask me, I think AI is like in the first or second inning, man.
Right.
So you're an expert AI. You got tech background, AI, lead gen. So today we're going to talk about the merger of AI with performance marketing and how people here can benefit and learn more about your story.
Absolutely. And it's exciting times because, like you just said, we're in the first inning of this. And it's early enough where everyone can get involved. And just with a little bit of research and time and investment, you can get your company or your business involved and help you secure some big bags with this AI stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's blowing my mind away because I'm a real novice, like I'm sure most people are, and if maybe some people here are more, they're instead of being a novice, maybe they have some good understanding, but I don't know if there's anyone's as expert as you are when it comes to, as far as I know and within my circle. So before we get into all that, I want the audience to understand more about your background and how you got here in the AI space and your understanding of the tech side with performance marketing and how it all came together.
Yeah, so my background, I actually have a tech background. So my tech background is, I worked for a lot of these pretty big companies. I worked at BMW doing AI and autonomous driving. I worked at Google, Hyatt Hotels, United Airlines, et cetera, et cetera. So my background initially started in tech. So that's my nickname, tech, right? So that's where that comes from. But secondly, I got into DTC after Fashion Nova.
Okay.
Fashion Nova was like my big leap into direct-to-consumer and e-com. And that's when I started learning, like, this is a different industry. The money's different, right? I don't have to wait for a paycheck every 2 weeks. Things the money just flows differently. And then I started getting into performance marketing. You know, I met some really big people in this industry, you know, and my first actual engagement with performance marketing is actually with Ron Hart. He was the first one that I met. We were racing our I-8s downtown one day, and we met up with each other, and he started telling me he was doing, at the time, I think he was doing like cable or satellite or something like that. And this is before he launched off. And
What year was this around?
2018.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And so we both had I-8s. We were like the only ones in Chicago with I-8s. And we were just running through the hood, and he was really like coming up on his performance marketing side, and I was still I was still working at BMW at the time. So for me, it was more about the tech side. But you know, it was everything. There was one thing that brought both of us together, and that was big data. Data. It was the one thing that changed the trajectory for both of us, right? Yep. And it's also what is now the fundamental goal of what we're doing now. And AI it feeds off data. What you can do with AI and data now is going to blow people's minds. And I can't wait to jump into some of it. Yeah. I can't wait to share, and I can't wait to show you guys, like, there is something amazing happening here that we all can do, and there's so much money to be made with it.
Got it. So you worked with Ron, and you got to learn more about the performance marketing space, right?
Right.
And then fast forward to where we're at now. Like, where was the light bulb moment or LFG moment? Like, man, I got to get into AI. This is the future. Like, can you bring us back to that?
Yeah, you know what? It first started with Unique Media Group, right? Where, you know, Carlos was asking, what can we do to kind of get an advantage?
And how long was this? A couple years ago?
This was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And this is when this is when GPT 3.5 was out.
Okay.
And that's when I started making TikTok videos using AI. Uh-huh. And we started doing multilingual campaigns using AI. And or we started doing like ads in multiple languages. And that's when I really started realizing, okay, this is something here, you know. And I was doing masterminds with Unique and some other groups, and I started really seeing all the different verticals everyone was in. And I was like, there's so much that can be. First of all, a lot of the stuff we were doing was so legacy. Even though we feel like we've been doing high-tech stuff, it's pretty much legacy, right? Lead gen is not a new game. It's just the way we aggregate leads is a little bit different. We do a lot of stuff with phone calls now, and the way we send data back and forth to each other is a little bit different. But it's a classic industry. AI is the big disruptor now. And to see all these different opportunities of improvement, and I saw it from the belly up. I didn't see it from the top down. I saw it from the belly up. That's when I was like, okay, there's something here that we can really do. There's something here that we can really take hold of right now.
Yeah, before offline, we're talking. You were showing me going under the hood with me, and I was just blown away because what you said when you were at Unique with Carlos, right? And hats off to him and anyone that's been doing this for a while. You got to always look for an edge, is what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Right, and to me, that's any edge possible. You're dealing with a lot of people competing for that ad spend, right? And you got to somehow have a better quality lead or some sort of thing that's going to help your customer grow. If they can't grow, you don't grow. I saw that happen with solar. Everyone was doing the same shit. Solar was hot for a while, and then what happened? No one had an edge anymore. Companies started going out of business, all this stuff, and then boom, you know, people just started getting out of it, trying to find the next thing. So you got to always be searching for the edge, and we sounds like AI is one of those edges that they can have, right? And it can be a quick edge too.
So I want to just clarify something, right? It's not just AI. It's AI in the use of technology in a very innovative ways. AI is just a tool, part of my toolkit. What AI allows me to do is, like you said, it condenses and crushes the timeline of being able to do certain things. And it also takes away a lot of those middleware and those steps. So when we speak about AI, I want this conversation today, I want it to be more than just AI. I want you to think of it as AI and the technology that surrounds it. Because some of the tools have been out there for a while, Zapier, Make.com, some of these other tools that we've been using for years. But now we get to use it differently. And then when you pair it with AI, then you hit beast mode.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, right? How do you scale quicker?
Right.
And get access to data quicker.
Right.
And I think that's what it does. And you were telling me some stuff about, listen, it's a bad storm out here. This might be record rainfall going on in Miami right now.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what that's going to affect housing or whatever, but I know that in Charlotte, where I used to live in Greenville, South Carolina, they will get hit with freaking hailstorms, damaged roofs, damaged cars, and whatever. And the people that are in roofing business, they love that period of time because, boom, they knock on doors. People would sign up. They'd make a killing during that period of time.
Right.
And then with AI and with your technology, you have the ability to marry that, merge that with performance marketing. Right? You were showing me some cool stuff.
Yeah.
It was just mind blowing to me.
Yeah. So that's the thing now. Think about this. So if you're in the performance marketing space, you will always have the edge when you push the envelope for innovation. So one of the things I've noticed is that a lot of people jump on one thing and they just run with it, and they don't really push the edge of innovation. Mm-hmm. I think right now in this current market that we're in, the companies that are going to be the most successful are the companies that do R&D.
Yeah.
The companies that put a little bit extra effort into what can we do that's different. Who can we find out there that might be outside of the performance marketing bubble who can give us additional insight for what we do? Because we tend to hire and recruit from within the bubble. So situations like, we'll find people who did super well with call centers, and we might bring them to this company and move them around here. But there's people doing some really innovative stuff in the automation side of AI who know nothing about performance marketing, right? Who would smash it if you brought them in, right? So it's the thing about this is that we're now in a place where the industry, if you really want to grow, you need to start finding talent from outside of the industry. And I feel like I've been fortunate enough to be kind of considered talent from outside of the industry, bringing it in to do really amazing stuff. And I think, whenever you want to start breaking some of the stuff that can be done, I would love to share it with you.
Yeah, and that's what excites me about having you on the show, because everyone that's been on the show, and we have some exceptions. We had Dr. D with Biohack, my doctor, and obviously I believe health is related to business performance and whatnot. I like that outside the box thinking, because people need to hear about that. We don't always think about that. We had a government cheese talk about government contracting. I like that stuff, but I'd say 85% of everyone we've had comes from this world. So you do come from this world, but you come from outside the world, and the marriage and the merging of the tech with the AI, and also you admit it. You're a tech geeky. I saw you in the elevator. You're in the, what do you call the
Segway?
You're in a Segway running around. Like, so you live this stuff, man.
Right.
And the point is that we're all looking for that edge in life, right? And in our business, it's so fast. The companies that have the edge, they're the ones that are going to be able to outlast. Absolutely. And I think that's what you're bringing to the table here with this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And here's the thing. It's not that I'm doing anything that's revolutionary. Mm-hmm. It's just what needs to happen now for you to really get that edge is, one, we have to stop knowledge hoarding in some ways. And like we have to open up this industry a little bit more so more people can understand how it works, bring some new talent into it. And, allow some of the younger generation or people who are more savvy with the digital marketing or these new tools to really bring some new insight into this industry. Because I think that's where it's really going to blow. And, today we're going to, I hope we can jump into in a moment where I could give you some examples of how AI can be used differently, right? So I want this to be something more than just, you can use AI for voice. You can use AI. I want people to really start thinking outside of the box, because that's where the true innovation starts to happen, and that's where the money's being made.
100%. Got to think outside the box, and that's why I'm glad to have you on the show. So let's talk about some real examples, man. You got anything? To share with the audience.
So a lot of people know me for AI voice. AI voice, we've been killing the game with AI voice, and I know there's like a gold rush to AI voice. Everyone's using voice for pre-qualification, which is dope, right? That's a dope place to be, and it's a great industry, right? So the new thing is, you use AI voice as a proxy to almost replace or circumvent the agent on the call center, right? So if for instance, for law firms right now, I am using AI to pre-qualify inbound calls. If they meet the qualifications, I send them on one path on Ringba. If they don't meet the qualifications, they get sent to another path on Ringba or whatever tool is out there, right? And what it does is for the lawyers and the law firms, they just know that the calls that are coming in meet a certain level of qualification. So when they have their paralegal or whoever in the call center engage with it, it automatically is a go. It's a green light, right? It's a solid package. here's a scenario. Law firm is running ads or billboards or some type of campaign to get leads in. Normally, the campaign is gonna what happens is the call is being sent to a call center, or in smaller agencies, it's probably just a paralegal. What we do now is we put AI in front of that. AI will pre-qualify the call, and it will, in a natural voice, with a natural conversation, will be like, "Hey, hey Joanna," or whoever just called. So, were you in an accident, or do you have these symptoms for mass tort, or whatever it is? And if you meet the qualification, it will send the calls downstream. Where we're starting to push the envelope now is where you can now use AI to not only do the qualification, but set up get the signature and everything. You can send them a DocuSign. You can send them legal paperwork that they sign. So now when the law firm wakes up in the morning, they have a bunch of signed documentation ready to go, right? This is where we're at with AI. And it will take the document, for instance, it will fill in parts of the document for you. So Johnny was in an accident. He called up. He said, "Yeah, I was in an accident downtown Miami. Crashed my Ferrari. It was on Biscayne Boulevard. It was on this time and date. I had 2 injuries. I went to the hospital, whatever it may be." All that information gets put into the DocuSign automatically. It's written out in a way.
Or pre-populates, essentially, right?
It's pre-populated with legalese.
Yeah.
Right? And then it gets sent to the law firm as a packet. And or if you're a small agency or you're a publisher or whatever you may be, right? You can run these campaigns yourself and just sell these leads off as complete kits. It's game changer now, right? And the great thing about it is there's very little interaction with you after the point. Once you have your automation set up, it just runs, right? Or where you can actually add extra finesse is what I'm doing with like roof repair leads, right? So roof repair leads is really fun for me because I'm able to I'm working with some agencies that give me full liberty just to go crazy. Just don't break the law and respect TCPA. That's all I need, right? And what I'm able to do with roof leads, for instance, I've been sharing this a lot on LinkedIn, is the autonomous, I create autonomous ads that move across the country without any interaction. The way it works is I subscribe to the RSS feeds for bad weather, National Weather Service, weather.gov, NOAA, whatever it may be.
Guys, listen up. He was telling me this before, and it blew my mind away. This is pretty sick.
So what you do is you subscribe to those RSS feeds, which are absolutely free, right? And you watch those feeds for weather in bad locations. What I usually monitor for is I'm using AI, and I'm using GPT 3.5 for this because it's super fast, it's almost instantaneous, and it knows how to route it. So GPT 3.5 will read the RSS feed and be like, okay, I'm going to update the zip code because this particular location had hail damage, right? And we know the hail damage is where we make a ton of money easy, really fast. It will update the audience. So I use tools, automation tools like Make and such, to update the audience on Facebook and on Meta. So all my ads start to move in different locations autonomously. And then I use a service like some of the voice AI tools I'm using, Bland or whatever, there's other ones out there. But we'll set up a phone number that will answer the phone call. It will, it will talk to them, have a regular conversation with them. It will be sympathizing with them. Hey, what storm were you in? Or, how can we help you? How can we get you through this particular process? And it will collect all the information you need. It will also look up to see what kind of damage was in that region within the last couple of days. All this information gets put together into a packet, and these leads get sold. Where it's really amazing is that we no longer have to focus on, like, where do I place my ads? Everything's autonomous now. The ads are built, are auto-generated in Canva. Canva, a lot of people don't realize, you can actually do a call to Canva, and if you have a template, you can automatically insert the city and an image automatically, right? And what you do is just upload you just tell AI to upload a photo or generate a photo of the skyline of Miami. So your ad will change based on the city that it's going to, and the image and the text will change also on the image of the ad. It gets uploaded to Facebook, and it just moves around.
Wow.
And this is where we are now. This is where you're converging marketing. You're converging, performance marketing, you're converging digital marketing, and you're converging AI in a really unique way. And it's fun, right? Where it's like right now I have ads running in Florida today because we've had bad weather. I haven't had any ads running in Florida in a while. But now,
Yeah, it's been great weather in the last couple of days.
So for me, I giggle because I'm looking at the campaigns that are running, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's running in Florida now. So now for the next 7 to 10 days, there's gonna be ads running in Florida, and people are gonna be calling, and they're gonna be like, hey, do you have storm damage? Oh, we know there was a storm 2 days ago. Let us know. This is how we get this process started. Boop, boop, boop. And it's just awesome that how we can do this in a way where it's so different from just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I remember all the work I had to do as a media buyer, right? You're just sitting there testing, and, trying different campaigns. But now it's different because I'm targeting people who are actually in need, who really need this service. So it's fun in a lot of ways, but it's also really innovative. The innovation level right now is different, right? Because we're bringing in different talents together to kind of execute these campaigns. And, so that's just an example. That's one example of many that I probably have for you.
And how long does something like that take to get set up? Like you talked about the whole, like the way you did in Florida with the weather and all that. So how long did it take from A to Z to get that running?
Well, for me to do it initially myself, it probably took I think it took me about 3 weeks. But for me to set up a campaign now, it takes like 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
Right? The most important part for me is understanding your scripts. And that's another part, right? So now, with AI and voice AI, I can take your calls from Ringba, download them, put them into a folder, upload them to Google Gemini 1.5 Pro. It analyzes all the calls. It creates a custom script built in with objections, right? So it knows how to handle objections. So if somebody says, no, I don't need this, or I'm really not interested in this, it knows how to handle those objections based on feedback that your team or your sales people have already, said in the past, and it comes up with these power scripts, right? Like, even if I wasn't doing this for AI, I would do this for call centers, right? Because it understands the human psyche, and it understands how call flow should work. But with voice AI, it's a game changer now, because now you can have a voice that you talk to that's moving through the pipeline, collecting all the right information. It collects all the right variables. It will do a ping post to Ringba. You get all your information. It can trigger off forms. It can trigger off this. It can trigger off that. And next thing you know, Ferrari.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. You can build it pretty quickly is what it comes down to. Age data. There's only a few months left of this.
A lot of different ways to monetize data. Data is a very broad term. There's a lot more money in it. You already spent the money. Let's just say it cost you $10 for a Medicare lead. You make $1 million in sales, you really only made $100,000.
And you might not get paid by your advertiser.
What if I can get an extra 50 cents, $1, $2, $3 per lead in perpetuity? What does that do to my marketing campaign? What does that do for the stress of the profits of my company? A percentage or two at those kind of numbers are huge as moving the needle. So for us, what I love about age data, the hard part's already been done. Now it's just a revenue left for your company. What would the extra $10, $20, $30,000 a week do for your business?
Absolutely.
All of our big partners are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year with us. They're never going to have this gold rush again.
Yeah.
And so when it comes down to the scripting and all that for is there those templates you have, who's actually creating that scripting? Is that something you do with the client, or who's coming up with all that? Because I want to play in the podcast. I want to go to one of those calls you had on roofing. It sounded amazing. The scripting was good. And the voice was really amazing too, with emotion behind it too, which we're talking about. But how does that all?
So the scripting is all done by AI.
Okay, wow.
Everything's done by AI. I don't try to outsmart the system. There's no need to.
Yeah.
I have 10 calls.
It makes sense. I'm thinking like I'm all fucking old school. I'm thinking someone's behind the scenes. Oh, I'm gonna create this, create that. But like, yeah, wow.
I might tweak it here and there.
Yeah.
So sometimes I might say, "What's your full name?" You don't need to say full name.
Yeah.
You don't see that in real life.
Yeah.
We'll say, "What's your name?"
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You cut that part out, make it more.
But more often than not, the script is pretty much what you already have defined. Plus, it knows how to handle objections, and it knows how to also bring other information into it. Like, for instance, if you have a script that says, "Hey, Johnny, what's your age?" "Oh, I'm 72. Oh, you sound young." Something like that.
When I was a bond broker, my first sales job, we were trained to say if someone says they're 75, 80, oh, you're a spring chicken.
Right.
And, it sounded so corny. What the fuck am I calling someone a spring chicken? I'm going to go fuck myself.
Right.
And we will say that? They fucking laughed every single time. It was
Absolutely.
crazy. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but like, it's crazy.
Absolutely. And if you do it with voices that people feel confident in,
Yeah, that it comes out to the voice.
That's where you get that extra leverage, and that's another thing that we've really advanced on. I hear a lot of campaigns right now on voice AI where it still sounds robotic.
Yeah.
We by nature are programmed to hang up on a robot.
100%.
As soon as you hear a voicemail, a regular voicemail,
Yeah.
oh, the number
It turns you off.
turns you off.
Yeah.
But now we can clone any voice that we want.
Yeah.
Like for instance, when I run campaigns down south, I use like pastor voices.
So smart.
Right? When I run campaigns up north, I use accents that have a very heavy
Use my
northern
voice.
accent. There you
Get
go.
my voice evolved.
Jersey. You know what I mean? New York. Shout out to New York, Jersey.
Shout out to New York, Jersey, yeah.
And it's easy to just attach that to your campaign.
Yeah.
You just tell it whatever zip code, area code this is, use this particular voice.
And that's so relevant what you're saying. You're making me think. So I had a call center. I didn't own the call center, but I built the call center. I consulted for this company, and we had big contract, big utility companies, our smallest campaign was like $800 million company, small utility in Kentucky. And we had Duke Energy, $70 billion company, all these massive companies. And one of our better contracts was with home warranty. So we had our call center in South Carolina. In South Carolina, most people there, 85% were from South Carolina, but we had a bunch of people from New Jersey, New York, Florida there too as well. The South Carolinians would crush it in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. But when they call Florida, man, when they call like the Miami area, they call Tampa, they will get their asses chewed. Or they call North, destroyed. So we would have to like cherry pick, okay, this agent's going to go, the New Yorkers, New Jersey's going to call Florida. And the conversion was like 40% more. But that's all like manual doing that stuff. But you're saying what you said just resonated with me because that's someone that's been in call centers, ran call centers, those sales campaigns. I've been a firm believer in that. And you can do that. I know your stuff is good for bilingual. You have Mexican people in Texas, mainly Mexican. You put someone Colombian calling them, it's not going to convert as well as if you get someone Mexican talking to them, Mexican American kind of stuff. You get what I'm saying? So that's massive. What you just said, that you can custom tailor campaigns based on that.
You can custom tailor. You can also change flight. You could change voice language in flight. Right. So say you just want to, let's say you're going to use a more generic voice for a wide campaign. You can at least make it so if you're calling somebody who is Spanish and they answer the phone in Spanish, it instantly switches over to Spanish and conducts the whole conversation in Spanish. And then if he speaks English halfway through the conversation, they'll switch back.
Yep.
We don't have to worry about it. But when you get your transcription, it will always be in English. So you understand what happens. And then what you do is you have tools out there that, that can analyze the performance of all your incoming calls and what you can improve on, what you can like change and things of that nature.
Like quality assurance aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to do QA.
Yeah.
You have to do QA. I will never understand why companies, I see a lot of performance marketers who don't do QA.
Oh, it's so dumb, yeah.
And it's crazy because I know you don't want to listen to all those voicemails, but there's AI tools for that now. Yeah. Right? Where you can bulk upload all your 10, 20, 30, 50 calls and it'll tell you what you can improve on your script. And, this is the tools, this is the stuff that we need to start employing, right? As entrepreneurs and as business owners, we need to start really looking outside the box and be like, okay, what can I do to fix this problem? Because there is a tool out there. I guarantee you there's a tool out there. Oh, is it? Well, my QA guys aren't really that good or they're only available from this hour to this hour. Okay, well, let's find a way to make it so we can bulk upload your stuff to a Google Drive and we'll just run a cron every hour, give updates to see, what could be done? What was good? What was working last hour? What can we do this hour that's different? And there's so many things you can do. You're not limited by anything. We used to be limited by developers, but now a lot of the stuff is low code or no code. So you don't even have to have a developer on your team. You just have to have somebody who can think outside of the box.
Right. It's all mind blowing to me, and what it comes down to. And so a big thing I'm thinking about here is, AI, well, I don't know, this has been going on, it's early, it's the first inning, right? And someone gets involved with this or they want to utilize your services. What are there still like kinks going on? I mean, I'm sure there's optimizations, different versions coming on. Have you seen any issues where, I don't know, there's been some like fucking, I don't want to say disaster, but there's been issues where like, someone's using in a call center or they're running a campaign, there's like some glitch, and who's behind the scenes? Like, if I want to get set up myself on this, like who's the one actually like the pilot behind this? Obviously, you still need some human intervention, right? Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So the way it usually works is this, especially if you're doing just calls. Let's just focus on calls for a moment because this also applies to text messages and things like that too, because there's so much you can do with it. So, for instance, generally speaking, when I work with a client or I'm bringing somebody on board to bring AI into their environment, there's two things we do. One, we create a dashboard. You just have to have a dashboard, right? Just so you can see what's happening in the environment, how many calls are going out, how many calls are coming in. Also, I like to do push notifications on, on samples of calls. Nice. So, for instance, like if we know we had a call that was 2 minutes long, right? It might just send you a copy of that call. You can just listen to it. You can kind of do the QA yourself. But more often than not, the team that you work with who are doing the integration. So I'm considered a solutions architect. I bring the AI into your team, right? But there's also DIY tools out there also. But as a solutions architect, when I bring it into your team, I'm watching the same thing you're watching, right? We're watching it together. Yeah. So you have a hand in this. You're not alone in the process, and you don't want to be. And I don't want you to be, because it's just like testing with ads. You have to test your script. You have to do QA on your inbound and your outbound calls. But the great thing about it is you can change things in real time. You don't have to wait anymore. Remember, we have to wait for the developer. You got to wait for the guys in India to wake up. And shout out to India. You don't have to wait anymore, because usually it's just a dialogue box or a prompt that you're changing. Yeah. And that's what makes it so amazing and different now.
Yeah, it's not just waiting too. It's also the training component of it. When you got to train a rep who's used to doing things their way, and then you say, hey, you have to now do this. It takes them some time, and there's slippage in that, and there's lost opportunities. So here, if you write out the logic and those if scenarios, right? I know that from downselling. If someone doesn't qualify for sold, or, oh, by the way, when's the last time you changed your roof, or how are your windows looking, or home warranty? Reps will miss signals, is what it comes down to. So I would think, like with something like this, you plug in the logic. If you want to have like downsell the shit out of somebody, boom, 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 and it does it for you once you put that in there, right?
You can literally list all your offers, and it will kind of route it based on what the qualifications are for them to meet. So if they don't meet, they were in an accident, but they do meet that their insurance lapsed for their auto insurance, or so if they say they were in a car accident, what are your injuries, right? And we can do follow up. We might offer them additional services, and but in order to do that, you kind of have to work with the partner to understand what offers they have on the table that we can integrate into the.
Yeah, and I think that's massive, because especially pay-per call, right? We talked about a couple of things. We talked about quality assurance. We interviewed Adam Young on the show. Shout out to Ringba, sponsor of our show, LFG Show. So in his book, Pay-Per Call Revolution, he talks about call fraud. There's so many call centers playing the game, trying to beat the clock, right? So QA is supposed to catch that. So I think with your tool, you can probably catch that. You can find just patterns and flags you put in, right?
Absolutely, and that's the thing so everything's about data now. Mm-hmm. Every call, you can extrapolate information out of it. We can say, okay, out of all the calls I just had, how many calls ended short because of what? X, Y, Z, whatever parameters we put into place. Or is the agent trying to end the call early, or whatever it may be, right? You can just ask it.
Yep.
You can literally just ask it, right? And you get that information, and there's tools popping up left and right that can help mitigate that. But at the very least, you can go to Gemini. It's called Gemini, Google Gemini 1.5 Pro. Mm-hmm. Upload 50 of your recorded phone calls and talk to it like you're having a regular conversation. Mm-hmm. Which calls were the most successful? Which ones weren't the most successful? What do you notice any patterns with the call agents that make you feel like they might be up to something nefarious? And it'll pull out the timestamp. It'll tell you what time it was. You can go listen to the audio. You can play it back. This is where we are now. Yeah. You have so much insights now on your data, and it allows you to be much more intelligent and much more nimble when it comes to your campaigns.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. And then the other aspect I'm going to say, aside from the call, QA, harnessing the power of AI for QA, preventing call fraud, and being on top of that stuff, also comes down to fully monetizing that call, that lead. Because media buyers, pay-per-call, these fucking calls are expensive. And you're talking about legal calls. I know you talked about Camp Lejeune was a very successful campaign for you. That's just a needle in a haystack. Right. How many Marines were actually in Camp Lejeune? It's a small amount, right? And you still see these ads. Everyone's trying to get all those leads. So if the person calls in, they call in, that's the hottest lead you can have. Right. They call you in. So if most people are going to qualify for the 50, 80, 70, 90% people don't qualify, They're on the phone with you. What the fuck else could they qualify? Are you a homeowner?
Right.
Oh, you live in Florida, bro. You got hit with that. Did you get any hail damage? Yeah. There's so much stuff you can do with that, right?
And the great thing about it is that you can do it just with a casual conversation, right? Like, for instance, with Camp Lejeune, one of the things that I was focused on was instead of asking them about their symptoms of, like, you know, what time and what place and what kind, I asked them, like, are you experiencing any pain right now? What are your ailments that you have right now? You know, I know you've been through a lot for the last 15 years. Are you suffering from cancer and this and that? It's easier to pair somebody with a tort when you know their symptoms than trying to go after the symptom, after the particular, you know, whatever the disease is or whatever the illness is, right? And then you can now have, for instance, I have somebody who has, you know, mesothelioma, they might have some type of other pain, or may have some type of other cancer. I can be like, whoa, you qualify for all three of these, right? And that's where I was winning with the Camp Lejeune, because I created like a tool that helps veterans with pain.
Wow.
Right? It still exists right now. You call the number right now, and it will just talk to you, and it will help you find local resources. And it's a phone number. But low-key behind the scenes, what it's doing is it allows me to collect information and be able to offer particular campaigns and ads to that person based on just a casual conversation. This is data. It's metadata. At the end of the day, I just look at an Excel sheet, and I can see all the, the conversation and the extract of what the conversation was about. And some people are like, well, you know, this is dangerous. We're in a really tricky area. And to a certain degree, it's true, right? Like, one of my most successful campaigns I ran used a pastor's voice, and he was praying. And he was like, it was a debt relief campaign, and he was like, we're going to play it for you in a second.
My dear friend, I know that you have big dreams and a desire for a better life. But if you're feeling weighed down by debt, I want to encourage you today. You were not meant to live a life of financial struggle and stress. In fact, the Bible says in Romans 13:8, owe no one anything except to love one another. So if you're ready to break free from the chains of debt and step into a life of financial freedom, click the link and make a 5-minute phone call. Go claim the life that God has in store for you.
And he was like, if you've ever been bound by debt, it brings up Bible scripture. And it was like a Joel Osteen voice.
Wow.
And it was very successful, and it was successful for some interesting reasons. One, it sounded like the pastor himself. Not to say I used the pastor's voice. I blended some voice together, but it had that spiritual twist to it. And it integrated prayer and it integrated religion. And at that point, no one's done this up to this point.
Oh, you said prayer, religion, and brewing the thunder. You heard that?
I know.
That was crazy. That was crazy time, man.
Right. But it's interesting because this is where you can push the limit. And it's the people who push the limit that secure the bag. You know, and right now at this very time, we can replicate any voice. We can call inbound and outbound and have casual conversations fluently, low latency, right? We can, every text message and email that goes out to a customer or a prospect is customized. Everything should be hyper customized, right? And like even for like confirmations for text messages, like for instance, somebody enrolled in Medicare or whatever, it could be like, hey Joanna, thank you for signing up for this program, whatever. Also, I noticed that you lived in this state. I love the bluebirds or whatever it may be, right? There's so much customization that you can do now that it helps your conversion rate dramatically. Imagine you getting a message that says, hey, I know you love so-and-so. You love this particular team, right? The Jets, right? And, we are running a campaign. First, it starts off, hey, go Jets, boo, boo, boo. And it starts talking to you about some other stuff, and it's customized to you, or the text message is customized to you, or the email campaign is customized to you. And it makes it so much easier, even for people who are just jumping in this game of performance marketing. Where it's amazing is, like, for instance, let's say you have a creative. I don't write the text for my creatives anymore. I put it into, you can try this yourself. Take your creative, go into ChatGPT, upload just the image, and tell it to create your headline text, your description text, and your call to action. And you tell it to use the AIDA or STP marketing framework. And it will create 10, 15 different ads that you can test against. Creatives that, not the creative text ad copy you can test against. You don't have to think as hard anymore. all that work and all that money you were spending on people to do all the hard lifting, you can now do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And this is where we are, where now the calls are the same way, creating the ads are the same way. And I know some people are going to be like, I know there's some people out there going to be like, nah, bro, you know, you need to understand marketing. You need to understand ad copy before you run this stuff. I'm telling you right now, I could tell ChatGPT, give me the list of the top 10 digital marketers, performance marketers, and insurance right now. And it'll give me a list, right? And I said, understanding who these people are, create 10 ads in the style that they would write these ads. You know, honing in on all the knowledge that you have on them, on what's the best way to run this campaign and the best text to use and best practices that they use. Now I'm honing into some of the Alex Fermazzi's and all these other people in the world who are the GOATs in their particular fields, you know. Or what I like to do is sometimes if there's somebody I know who's great at something, I'll sample some of their creatives or sample some of their text and use that to kind of shape the way AI will create my ads in the future. One of the things I like to do as an example of how powerful AI is, I go to the Facebook ads library. I'll type in a campaign for whatever, Medicare, right? I'll scroll down 2 or 3 pages. I'll get like maybe 60 or 70 ads. Copy the entire page. Don't filter anything out. Copy the entire page and say, create 5 or 6 ads for this picture I'm showing and do not use any of the personalized information from any of the brands you see, but use the most common or use this as a source of data to create and craft other additional campaigns for me. And it does an amazing job. It will see the last, and it will take into consideration, if you look on Facebook, it will show you how many ads are running for this particular campaign, right? It will be like 7 ads of this type or 20 ads of this type. It understands that. So it will know to kind of give that more weight than some of the other ones that might be just solo. And it's a game changer, right? It's a game changer for media buyers. It's a game changer for publishers. It's a game changer for business owners, performance marketers and business owners alike. Because now we all have, the one thing that AI does for all of us, it gives us parity. I now have the same powers as the guys who used to do the translation for us. Yep. I now have the same powers as some of the media buyers. I now have the same powers as some of the guys who used to write our scripts. I have the same power as you now, right? So now that I have all the same power, now I'm able to be like, okay, how can I use this in a way that's more creative, right? And that's the thing I love about AI. AI is allowing us to take regular people who are locked into one particular frame or one particular role and expand it out. Yeah. And I encourage everyone to use it, right? There are some guardrails that I will say, which is important, right? You put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out, right? So if you think that you're just going to get one of your guys to just turn on ChatGPT and start printing money, it's not going to work like that. They do need to have a little bit of training. They need to know how to interface with the beast. But one of the things I always tell people is there has to be a curiosity to do better, right? So when I do ads, I always ask, who's the best performing in this market right now? What are some ads that you've seen? Or I'll grab some text of some ads I've seen on social media, and I'll say, use this as a source. Give it information, and it'll get the better you put in, the better you get out of it. Yeah. And
that's great advice. I always say success leaves clues. So you go into the best.
I like that.
Yeah, you're looking at the 10 best digital marketers. You're taking it from them. And what I think about success leaves clues and time, man. Time is so valuable. Our time is money. How much time do we spend on bullshit and sifting? So if you try to get those 10 digital marketers and do all what you did, how much fucking time would that take you? Days and days and days, right? And how much, when you did that extra, how long did it take you to do the whole thing that you did? When you took the 10 digital marketers, the best campaigns they ran, and like,
that took me 5 minutes.
5 minutes. That to me is mind blowing, man.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. And the time to lead now is like so much more condensed because we have automations and all these tools now. Like the moment that somebody fills out a Facebook form or a Meta form, whatever form, they can get a call immediately. Yeah. Right? You're having a conversation with them immediately. Let's say you have a call center of 15, 20 people, but you just did a campaign that's doing really well, or some type of UGC content or some creative put something out, and now you have 5,000 calls coming in. Yeah. Well, I have 5,000 agents with AI. You're no longer limited.
That's crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Like I just hit for the first time ever in 4 days, I did 100,000 inbound and outbound.
Oh, yeah,
calls.
so I want to talk about, you talked about that on LinkedIn. And by the way, follow Mike on LinkedIn. He puts the stuff he's talking about here, he expounds upon that, and it's just good. This is the future. So you're on top of it. Your LinkedIn is fire, by the way. So I was going to bring that up. So let's talk about that 100,000 calls.
Yeah, so the 100,000 calls was between two campaigns, like final expense and insurance. And it was two different types of leads coming in. It was age leads or semi-age leads, and it was real-time leads coming in. And it was companies are now starting to transition over heavier to the AI side, where they'll say, okay, instead of, I can now handle what 100 and 200 call centers can do now, right? Or they say you need to do a campaign where you need to reach out to 10,000 people, 15,000 people at once, right? They say you have a warm lead list of 20,000 people, right? You can execute that all in one day. And the great thing about it is you can say Happy Monday to all of them. Happy Monday, Chris. So-and-so, 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 right? And it's amazing that, like, we don't worry. There's no such thing as too much traffic anymore, because with the cloud, it just expands itself. And when it doesn't need it anymore, it contracts itself. So it's like you always have the resources you need. You just need the money. And right, and calls are not that expensive anymore. I remember, think about it. How much is a call for an agent? Like you'll pay anywhere between $3 to $10, $15 per agent, right? If you could do 100 calls and each call per minute is like maybe 15 cents, right? And all those calls can be executed at the same time within 1 minute. That's a game changer for you.
Absolutely.
Right? And for instance, you could build on logic. Let's say somebody is having a hard time understanding or something's not going right. You could do a warm transfer back to one of your human agents, right? And there's redundancy and there's fault tolerance. There's all the stuff that's built into the system now that, you can feel confident about your calls coming in and out. But it's not just calls. Remember, it can be emails. It can be text messages, any modal that you want.
Yeah, you pointed, it shoots out for you. You made me think about something really important, especially coming from the solar world. There are a lot of companies that, for them, it's getting in the person's home. They want to set, usually the math works this way. You set 6 appointments. You hope to get in 4 people's houses to do the presentation, right? Right. The issue is that they didn't have enough leads or they didn't have enough agents. Maybe they got enough leads, but they didn't have the agents on the call side to do it. So this is their solution. You feed the data into it, it sets those 6, does confirmation, whatever, and then boom, you're in the house. So this does level the playing field, because the issue that those smaller companies have is that they can't compete with the bigger companies that have 100, 200, 300 people in the call center. Right. Those guys are gobbling up all the leads, they're calling fast. But if you have this solution there, now you can grow, because now you're getting your the sales reps just want to be selling all day long. Right. They want to be producing. So if you got the heavy lifting done by the AI, it changes everything. So it does level the playing field. So Absolutely. When you said that, I'm like, there's so many use cases for this. It's just mind blowing. So
let me tell you. So let me give you some hacks. So I'm going to give you guys some hacks because I know we're tight on time. So I want to give some free game out. One, if you're going to run campaigns, if you're running like ads, like TikTok or Facebook ads or whatever it may be, use the same voice in your ad for the voice on your phone calls.
That's amazing.
Just do it. Yeah. Right. You can go to 11 Labs. You can train the voice. And you have a voice now that you can use for your AI voices. Stop using robotic AI voices. I want you to make money with this, right? Stop using robotic AI voices. We have to start using more human voices that have emotion, that has cadence, that has, a style to it, right? Also, if you're running Spanish ads in the Spanish language, get a Spanish voice. There's nothing wrong with getting a voice that sounds similar to somebody that they've heard before, because it subconsciously secures trust, right? Also, when it comes to communication going forward, try to customization is going to be the key right now, right? If you're sending out thousands of text messages, find a way to integrate AI where it customizes those messages. We collect a lot of data. If you have a row of data that says this person he lives here, this is where he works at, this is his income, he's a homeowner, this and that, all that can be used part of your pitch.
It's fucking gold.
Yeah. Right? So even with the text messages, be like sometimes, for instance, I'll do a text message blast where it says, this text message, hey, Carlos, or hey, Johnny, or hey, Chris, hopefully this message reaches you, because it's only for homeowners only that live, and it'll say something unique to them, right? Only homeowners that live in the Ocean State, right? and it changes on the fly for each person. And a lot of these tools plug right into Twilio. They plug into Simple Text. They plug into all these different tools that we're using right now. And customization is going to be key going forward, right? Another thing that I want to make sure that we share is that there is a lot of innovation happening in the vision world, where, for instance, I was telling you about what I'm doing now with roofing, where I can look at Google Maps. I can see what areas have solar, and I can call the individual homeowners based on, or run ads for those. So I love what I love. One of my techniques that I love doing is I'll grab a whole bunch of emails for a particular area using like Paper Data Labs or whatever different tools that are out there. I run lookalike audiences based on that market, right? And I'll use AI to handle the communication once they engage with us. There's just so much you can do with this.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
And again, I'm not using world-renowned tools, right? I'm using Make. I'm using Zapier. For editing and stuff like that, I'm using Descript. I'm using Opus. For UGC content, I'm using like Stable Diffusion and other AI tools that allow me to create images and videos now. And it's a game changer, right? Like, there's so much you can do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
And that was one question I was going to ask. You put this on LinkedIn too a few days ago. You talked about what your top tools are. So if let's say someone's in performance marketing, I want to ask you two questions. Someone that's in performance marketing and someone that's doing podcasting, right? Okay. What would be your top 2 or top 3 tools you recommend someone in performance marketing to look into ASAP, and top 3 for podcasting as well, or anyone creating content?
Well, Claude and ChatGPT, of course, are going to be your standards. I use ChatGPT less for creating content. I use Claude for that more. Claude is really amazing at writing.
How do you spell that?
CLAUDE.
Okay.
It's great at creating good copy. It's great with linguistics. Anytime you need to analyze a ton of big data, videos, audio, Gemini 1.5 Pro, completely free. It's completely free. You can go to aistudio.google.com and take all your calls, throw it in there, and say, give me some insights. It will be a game changer for you on a performance marketing level. When it comes to automation, Zapier and Make are still the go-to right now, right? So I continue to use those tools. When it comes to AI voice, naturally, I'm going to say Bland. That's my team. But there's other companies out there that are really doing some amazing stuff. And again, we're going to get to a point shortly where the voice AI tools going to be ambiguous. It's really going to come down to who has a better script, who has a better use case of integration, right? Like what I was doing with the autonomous ads. That's just me just using basic off-the-shelf tools. I'm not doing anything with heavy programming. And we're in this era of low-code, no-code where almost anybody can do this, right? So when it comes to podcasting, if I had to come up with a list, it's probably going to be Opus for short form, for chopping up short form content. Descript is great for longer form content. Okay. What I love about Descript is, let's say we were having a conversation now and we edit it down, but I say something wrong. Let's say I said the wrong company or I said the company's name wrong. You can go into it, retype it the way it's supposed to say, and it clones your voice and says it for you. Right? Nice. So if, say, you wanted to say, Micah, you're a cool dude, but you really meant to say, Micah, you're a handsome guy. Yeah. Right? It will rephrase the words that you said, so it says, Micah, you're a handsome guy.
I do that shit sometimes where I'll say something, I meant to say this shit, but it came out the wrong way,
Right. And you do it like you're typing in Microsoft Word.
It's funny. It's like, the Chandelier Bar in Las Vegas, right? Right. Fucking great place to do business. So I was in the moment. I'm like, this place deserves a place in the Federal Reserve talks. And that's not what I meant to say. I meant to say, like, the Federal Reserve should talk about this as part of but it came out. I was so in the hate. I'm like, fuck, I wish I could go back. So you're saying with that tool, I could have done that, right? You
absolutely could have done it. Effortless. Like, it's just, you're just typing it.
Yeah.
Right. So tools like that make it very, and it's good for ads. Right. Like if you want to have an ad that pops, you want to put the caption down there. You want to have, the new way of doing marketing right now, the new TikTok style of ads. This stuff is perfect for that now. Yeah. I'll put a list up. I'll share a list with you. Well, I think for performance marketing and for podcasters, and share that. We're gonna share that with the world. So it'll be my list. Yeah. And if people have other questions, I love answering questions, right? Because I think what I want the world to see right now is that we're in a space where it's ripe for innovation, right? Stuff we were talking about with the innovation using satellite photos and maps and auto dialers and, the AI integration with this tool and that tool, we're here now.
Yep.
Right. And there's gonna be a convergence start happening. I feel like in the next 6 months to a year, where more and more people are starting to catch on how to use these tools creatively. And it's gonna be really up to you as owners and business owners and performance marketers to figure out who can I get involved, how do I get them involved, and what do I show them? Because it's not a secret what we're doing for the most part.
Yep.
Right. It's just about who can do this better and more uniquely.
And I was going to say something. I'm listening to a book called Who Not How by, the author. He's done a
I've heard
lot
about
of
this.
Yeah,
Yep.
phenomenal book. And we made some recent hires in my company that they're already moving the needle. It's like it's amazing. See, we used to do things. We used to do a lot of band-aids. Have someone that, okay, you're doing tech. Oh, why don't you do this too? And then do 3-4 things at once. They'd burn out. They wouldn't produce a good quality product, right? So, and that came as a function as a startup, trying to save costs and having people do multiple hats, right? So you learn as a business owner, you got to get the right person in one lane, have them specialize and be the best in the world at that shit, and they're going to help you grow. So we gotten better in that. But recently we made some big hires in that Who Not How book. I call my pro like, bro, we got to hire. We got to make this shit happen. Hire this person, because we don't. And we hire them, boom, we're already seeing the ramification, the positive ramification of that, benefits of that. That's what I'm trying to say. So this reminds, as you were talking, the who right now, the big who is AI. That's not just one who. That who is like, you could exponentially grow that to 10,000 who's, 20,000 who's. Like you talked about that one campaign. If you have 10 or 15 people in your call center, but you have enough leads to feed 30, but you can't hire 15 people fast, you hire 15 AI agents and bam, right? They're not going to call out sick. They're not going to complain, right? Boom. So it comes back to that concept. It's that old school knowledge with the new stuff that's coming out, and then you marry them.
Absolutely.
Boom.
And the technology is like, for instance, one of the features that I love with Ringba is like it gives you ICP data.
Yeah.
ICP data is pretty much additional data about the caller, right? That data can be used for additional calls in the future. Like, there's so much data that we collect that we just throw away.
Yeah.
Like, using tools like Ringba and using people data, there's all these different tools that are available out there. If there's one thing I can say, collect as much data as possible. Just put it away in data. A lead that didn't work out is a lead that can be retargeted later.
100%.
Right? Stop this idea of like, oh, it didn't work out for me, I just ignore them, they're not worth it anymore. No, that doesn't work anymore. With AI, you can retarget them, you can talk to them differently, you can warm them up again, and it's money being left on the floor. And even if you don't know how to use it now, I promise you within the next 6 months, it will make sense how you can use it.
Yeah. All fantastic stuff. I want to, before we cut off the show, we're going to show the clip you showed me of the AI talking in the call center, the roof. That was amazing, because one thing I'm from the call center world. I'm old school sales, and emotion sells is what it comes down to. So again, when you talk about the AI, people think about robotic stuff, but we'll cut into that as a way to close us out, because I want the audience to hear that.
Good afternoon. Welcome to America's Rapid Roof Repair. Can I have your name, please?
My name is Micah Berkley.
Hey, Micah. Okay. What's the city or zip code that you have experienced roof damage?
My house is in San Antonio, Texas.
Yes. On April 9th, downtown San Antonio experienced a pretty severe thunderstorm. I'm seeing that hail as large as 1.5 inches was reported, and it lasted about 45 minutes. And this size of hail can cause significant damage, especially to roofs. Is this the storm you are referencing to?
Yeah, that's exactly the storm I'm calling about. That's the one that my house experienced damage.
Yikes. Well, I hope everyone is okay, Micah. What type of roof do you have? Let's do this. I recommend having a professional assess the condition of your roof soon. Let's schedule an immediate inspection. It's better to handle potential repairs quickly to prevent further issues, especially since next week in your area, the weather looks fairly unstable.
What do you think the future is of all of this? I mean, right now we're in the first inning, maybe second inning, still in infancy. Where do you think this goes, and what kind of impact do you think this is going to have? Because to me, it's going to be freaking amazing. The companies that adapt to this, that jump on, or the ones that are going to be, full steam ahead, whereas the ones that don't, clinging on to the old school ways, are going to be left behind. That's what I think. I mean, what are your opinions on that, and what do you think the future is on all this?
I think the future of performance marketing is going to be three things. It's going to be hyper customization. It's really going to be about how do we cater to that individual in a way that we've never done it before. Two, it's going to be about how do we reuse modals of communication that are more natural, that people have been using for years, and use it for future marketing. What I mean by that is, I know everyone's using all these chat bots and everything, but phone for me is the future. And it sounds crazy saying that because it's like that's
Yeah,
legacy.
it does sound crazy. It's like, but yeah.
But here's the thing: for us, it's a native way of communicating for our demographic and getting older. So as they start to age out and do, getting a call and talk to somebody on AI is not going to be as scary as it sounds, right? And sure, we're going to have to use other modals of messaging and text, this and that, but there's so much money that's going to be available for targeting because it's a modal, it's a way of communication that we're all used to, right? And there's going to be a lot of different innovation that's going to be coming in that space. I mean, even OpenAI is getting, you could talk to ChatGPT. I didn't realize how many people talk to ChatGPT now, right? Talking is just a native, thoughtless
connection.
It's a connection, right? Yeah. And and the last thing is, the fastest person to the lead is going to be the one that gets the bag, right? This idea of collecting information, calling them up a few days later, or all this stuff, it's going to be different now. It's all about speed now. And it's going to be speed to innovate. It's going to be speed to iterate. It's going to be speed to time to lead to customer. Everything's about speed. AI allows you to compress that dramatically and find people who are innovators, man. The one question that I tell people is find someone who's willing to Google search. Like, I don't want, even when I hire people for my team, that's the first thing I ask them. Like, if you don't know an answer to something, what are you looking for? Well, I'll
Great
ask.
question.
If they're not in it, if they're not curious enough to look it up, they're not going to be built for this.
Where's that urgency? It shows the initiative, and they're willing. They need to get the answer.
Right.
That urgency is really what I think separates the winners from the losers at the end of the day. It's the world we live in. Everything's compressed for time, man.
And all the information is available now.
Yeah.
There's no reason why an employee should be telling you, I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's an
You
excuse.
didn't look hard enough.
Yeah.
You're not invested.
Man, great stuff, guys. Bangers here, left and right. Ways to collapse time frames, optimize your campaigns. I mean, and be part of the wave. This is part of the wave. So really appreciate your time being on.
Thank you. Yeah, LinkedIn, Micah Berkley. You can go to micahberkley.com or the AImogul.com. And I love sharing information. So it's like I'll be continuing to share stuff on my LinkedIn and my Twitter page. And if you guys want to reach out to me for campaigns or just advice, just insight, right? Yeah. I'm here for that. Let's figure this out. Let's figure out how we all can get money. Yeah,
it's huge. Follow him on LinkedIn. I can't emphasize that enough. His stuff is banging. You got to be part of the future trends. We're in internet marketing, digital marketing, most of us, or some of us on call center, some of us just business owners. Someone needs motivation. There's all of that in one. And when you catch a trend and you ride that trend, man, huge money to be made. And I think AI is the biggest trend that we have. Right there. It's right under our fingertips. So thank you for being on. It really means a lot to me.
Appreciate it, man.
Fucking audience love it. Let's fucking go, baby.
Let's go, LFG, baby. Thank you, brother. Peace.